If you are pregnant or you've recently had a baby, this podcast is for you. I am your host, Kath Bequee, a physiotherapist working in women's health and mum of 3. Join me each week as we dive into all things pregnancy care, childbirth and postnatal recovery, helping you have a wonderful pregnancy and afterbirth experience. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. Welcome to episode 24 of the Fitness Mama podcast, where I am discussing perineal preparation for childbirth. So if you don't know what this means or what it is, then listen up. I am your host, Kath Bequee. I'm a mum of 3 young girls, a physiotherapist for women with 15 years experience, and I have an online community, Fitness Mama, which helps to provide pregnant and new mothers with the exercises, support, and resources they need to move from the overwhelm, the physical aches and pains of pregnancy, the weakness felt after birth, and instead we replace that with the comfort and confidence to get their bodies and minds strong again so that they can get back to doing what they love with a bubba by their side, whether or not that's running around with the kids at the park or running the next marathon. So welcome back to another episode of the Fitness Mama podcast. We are talking about perineal preparation for childbirth. What is a perineum? How do I find my perineum? And how do I prepare my perineum? These are all very good questions, and this is what we are diving into today for today's episode. So before we do get into it, if you do want to learn more about perineal preparation as well as other ways to help prepare your body for labour, then come and join me for this free event which kicked off earlier this week, but it isn't too late to join. 5 days, 5 ways to prepare for labour is a free 5-day event, and these 5 days will leave you feeling more confident and empowered about your upcoming childbirth experience. In these 5 days, you will learn about active birth positions. So what are some positions that you can use during the different stages of labour? Perineal preparation. You'll learn what perineal massage is and how it may help to reduce your risk of perineal tears and episiotomy, as well as pelvic floor essentials to help you with your pregnancy, birth, and after-birth recovery. So as a women's health physio, everything I will be sharing in this free 5-day event are things I believe every woman deserves to know when pregnant to really help with her childbirth and after-birth experience. To register for this free event before the doors close, head to www.fitnessmama.com/challenge. So that's fitnessmama.com/challenge, and the link is also in the show notes. Right, let's get into this episode. So perineal preparation, it's a big topic. Let's go over what is your perineum. Why do I even need to know about my perineum? How can I find my perineum? And I also want to talk about what my perineum might feel like when I lift versus when I relax my pelvic floor. A quick disclaimer, as always, this information is general information only. It never substitutes that face-to-face medical diagnosis, advice or treatment. So if you do have any concerns, or if you're not sure if this is right for you, do go and have a chat to your healthcare provider. All right, let's first get into a bit of anatomy because this is important. What is my perineum? So the perineum is the space between your vagina and your anus. It's that bit of tissue, the skin that you can feel, and it connects all your pelvic floor. Wherever you are right now, well, obviously you can't do this if you're public or you're walking, but if you're at home in a bit of a private space, at some stage today, I recommend you try to locate your perineum. Find out where it is. So perhaps you might want to get a mirror out and find that space between your vagina and your anus. Or perhaps next time you're in the shower, have a feel of that skin, that tissue area between your vagina and your perineum. Because if you can locate this, I think it helps with the next stage of the perineal preparation. So we're going to talk about massage. We're going to talk about that sensation of stretch that you feel when the child's head, your baby's head, is crowning. So sometimes you might hear this referred to as the ring of fire, which I can definitely remember the first time I felt this. It was a bit of a a shock. I wasn't really expecting it. So perineal preparation is both a physical preparation but also a mental preparation to get your body ready and aware of that sensation of stretch so that hopefully you can relax into that sensation of stretch and not fight against it and zip up your pelvic floor and tighten everything up. So let me explain this a little bit more. It is a bit complex. So when I am doing this talk inside my membership or inside the free challenge which is happening, I use a model, a pelvic model, a diagram, and it really helps to have that visual. And obviously a podcast, it's all auditory. So if you're getting a bit confused, that's okay. Just come and you're pregnant, come and join in my challenge because it will probably make much more sense when you can see what I am talking about with my pelvic model. So perineal preparation is a method of preparing that outlet of the birth passage, so where the baby comes out, for the stretching and pressure sensations during the birth of your baby. So it's a physical preparation, as I talked about, because we're becoming used to that. We want to become used to that sense of stretch. And we want to also mentally prepare and work with relaxation techniques to help relax into that sensation of stretch, rather than getting freaked out when we feel this sensation of stretch and then everything potentially tenses up. This is exactly what I know happened with my first. I was really unprepared. It was it was a long time ago, 8-9 years ago now. And I remember having that ring of fire. I distinctly remember it. And I wasn't mentally prepared. And I could feel my body tense up and resist that sensation of stretch. Whereas for my third baby, once I was more aware of perineal preparation, more aware of relaxation strategies to do, I remember actively relaxing into that sensation of stretch, and boy, for me personally, it made such a big difference. So why do we need to know about perineal preparation? The aim is to reduce the risk of perineal tears, which is where a little tear might happen in the perineum. And it's really common to have a perineal tear. What we're after is to reduce your risk of the larger tear. So a 3rd or 4th degree tear, where the tear goes further into the tissue, is what we're aiming to reduce. Stage 1 and 2 tears, they generally heal really well. It's the 3rd and 4th degree tear where, if possible, this is what we're hoping to prevent. And we're also aiming to reduce the risk of episiotomy. And there is some lovely research to show that this perineal preparation, perineal massage, it has been shown, this is in a large cohort, and this is statistically speaking, to reduce the risk of perineal tears, 3rd and 4th degree perineal tears and episiotomy. But unfortunately, don't take this the wrong way, because you could do everything right by the book, but you might still have a 3rd or 4th degree tear because of other different factors or a whole range, a combination of factors. Conversely, you might do nothing that's written in the book and just do everything wrong. And I say that with, the fingers, inverted commas. You might do nothing that I talk about today and you might have no perineal tear. So it is different for everyone. It's different for every situation. But when we're talking about research and statistics, they have shown that it reduces your chance or your risk of a 3rd and 4th degree perineal tear, and it reduces your risk of episiotomy. So it's great news, ladies. How can perineal preparation help? So firstly, it helps us to become aware of this area of the body. And that's why I said at the start, when you've got a quiet moment, maybe you're in the shower or you've got some quiet time to yourself, find your perineum. Have a look with a mirror or use your finger and touch that area of skin between your vagina and your anus. Become aware of it. It's a part of the body that becomes stretched, and if we can locate where it is, I think that is a really crucial first step, rather than being totally oblivious and ignoring that area. Secondly, if we're aware of our perineum, it may help to assist you to relax and open up that area for your baby's birth. Thirdly, being aware of your perineum, and perhaps if you were to choose to do some perineal massage, which I do encourage you to learn more about, and this is something that I do teach inside the Fitness Mama membership, but it is thought to help reduce the extremes of burning and stinging that often accompany the birth of the baby's head. So that ring of fire sensation, that extreme of the burning and stinging. So everyone here, again, you might not want to do this if you're in a public area, but when I talk about burning and stinging, I want everyone to use their fingers and pull their lips apart, pull their mouth open from side to side. I'm going to do it right now. Do you feel that burning and stinging? Again, a podcast is very auditory. Unfortunately, you can't see me making a big fish mouth with my 2 fingers, but I've got my finger either side of my mouth, so my index finger, my second finger, each side of my mouth, and I pull my lips open. And do you feel a slight uncomfortable burning, stinging sensation? This is what it's thought to feel like in the perineum. It's that stretch. So it's a muscle stretch. It's a tissue stretch. It's totally normal. This is, if we can change our mindset, and rather than thinking, oh my gosh, it's stretching, it feels terrible, if we can instead change our mindset and think, wow, I feel this stretching. That means my baby is coming, the head's coming through. I'm nearly there. I am nearly going to meet my baby. I really think that change of mindset and that anticipation can really help to relax into that stretch rather than being fearful of it. And you've just stretched your mouth and no damage has happened. It's a sensation of stretch. So if we're aware of our perineal, the sensation of stretch, as I said, it's thought to help reduce the extremes of burning and stinging that might happen when the baby's head crowns. Whew. And then lastly, the fourth thing is perineal preparation might help to reduce your chance of ongoing pain from 3 months post-delivery. So that's some more research that has been shown that by doing the perineal preparation, by doing some perineal massage perhaps, it might help reduce pain down the track. Okay, so the first step is to find your perineum. Locate your perineum so you know what you're talking about. So you might choose to sit in a comfortable position, you might choose to sit in a bath or sit up on the bed with your knees up, recline sitting with your knees up, like find a comfortable position, or perhaps even in the shower. And find that bit of tissue, that bit of skin between your vagina and your anus. Now, once you've found that bit of tissue, this is a really fun experiment. Probably fun for me being a pelvic floor physio. I don't know if everyone else would think it's fun, but try doing a pelvic floor lift. So when you do a pelvic floor lift, that's that internal zip up and lift up of your pelvic floor muscles. Imagine you're stopping yourself passing wind. Imagine like you're sucking up a pee through your vagina. And I would love to know, what does that perineum feel like? Do you feel like that perineum tenses up? Just like if you were to put your finger on your bicep muscle in your arm, if you were to suddenly lift up 5 kilograms, I bet your bicep muscle would suddenly tense up and get harder underneath your fingers. Same thing with the perineum. If you can feel your pelvic floor lift and you can feel your perineum tense up, then that's a pretty good sign that your pelvic floor muscle is getting a nice lift. Bit of a disclaimer, it doesn't mean that you've got strong pelvic floor muscles. This doesn't replace a pelvic floor assessment from a pelvic floor physio, but it's just a bit of nice feedback for yourself whether or not you're getting that activation. And now that you've felt that perineum tense up and get a bit harder, I want you to think about relaxing your pelvic floor. So let it go, let your tummy muscles relax, take some nice deep breaths, let it all drop and flop. And now what happens to that perineum? Does it get softer? because that's what we're after when we're relaxing your pelvic floor. We want it to release and relax. We want that outlet to open, so to speak. So when you lift your pelvic floor muscles, the outlet closes and you're zipping up those muscles. And then when you relax your pelvic floor, the outlet theoretically opens. So that's what we want with the perineal preparation. When you feel that sense of stretch, if you can work with that and relax your pelvic floor muscles, then that's a really great first stage. So that's it for today. That's the two main takeaways. I want you to locate your perineum, and then I want you to see what it feels like with a pelvic floor lift and a pelvic floor relax. And I would love some feedback. Send me a DM on Instagram at fitnessmama. Did you have a bit of an aha moment today? What did you think of today's episode? Because I know it's certainly different and I'm explaining something literally with my words that's very much a tactile and a visual thing. But I would love to know how you feel after today's episode. And as I said, if you do want to find out more about perineal preparation, I will be diving into more information inside the 5 days, 5 ways to prepare for labour challenge, which is happening between the 1st and 5th of March. And I do plan on running these every 3 to 4 months. So if you miss this one, that's okay. Put your name down on the wait list to join the next session. As always, if you enjoyed this episode today, if you could provide a rating and a review, it would mean so much. But it also helps with the algorithm of the podcast situation, which I don't know too much about, but it helps more people find this podcast. So if you enjoyed today's session, give it a rating and a review, and also send me a DM on Instagram at fitnessmama and let me know what you thought. So have a fabulous day, everyone, and I really look forward to you joining me inside the 5-day challenge. Otherwise, I'll see you next week for another episode of the Fitness Mama podcast. Thanks for listening to the Fitness Mama podcast, brought to you by the Fitness Mama freebies found at www.fitnessmama.com/free. So please take a few seconds to leave a review, subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and be sure to take a screenshot of this podcast, upload it to your social media, and tag me at fitnessmama so I can give you a shout out too. Until next time, remember, an active pregnancy, confident childbirth, and strong postnatal recovery is something that you deserve. Remember our disclaimer: materials and contents in this podcast are intended as general information only and shouldn't substitute any medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. I'll see you soon.